Assalamualaikum and hi. In this episode, we'll learn about how to create a flowchart to illustrate the looping, or what we call as the iterations programming structure. You can see from the example here, it's a simple looping example where if the number is less than 3, the loops will continue. If not, then the program will end. So as usual, let's open your draw.io and start to draw this looping programming structure. So if we can go to flowchart, we can start with a diamond shape. Okay, it's very much similar to the decision structure that we have learned earlier. So here what we want is we want to ask a question where I say, is this number, or let's say this number we can declare as I greater than 3, okay? Then we'll have a n here. Okay, so if it's greater than 3, then we are going to n it. If not, then we're going to display the output. The output is the hybrid shape. You still remember? Okay, so we need to get that from the advanced tab. Okay, we output I. Okay, we will just want to display I in this case. So let's bold this input. Okay. Before we illustrate the loop, now let's complete this first. So add the flow line. So we can add the flow line here. Just need to add another flow line. Okay. And we need to add the text to indicate true or false, or yes or no. So if this number is greater than 3, if no, then we are going to continue or doing a loop. If yes, if it's greater than 3, then we are going to end the programs. If you still remember the example that we discussed in our class earlier, is a kind of a lock-in attempt, right? So if a user have tried to log in more than 3 times, then the program will end or it will be blocked. Now we need to indicate the loop. In order for us to draw the line, we need to go to, I think that will be under miscellaneous, MISC here. Search for the manual line. Okay, so drag and drop it here. So we want to indicate that there's a loop or repetitions going on here. Okay, so as you can see, this line here indicates the loop. Okay, here I'm going to add one conditions. Instead of adding the text, I will just copy and paste. Okay, we will do update I by 1, which is I equal to I plus 1. Okay, I'm going to explain this in detail later on. So as you can see here, this is a portions of the flowchart that indicates the looping structure. Okay, again, is this number, so we call this number as I greater than 3. So if I is greater than 3, then we are going to end the program right away. If not, then I'm going to print I. In this looping process, what I do is I add a counter here. Okay, I add a counter here, if you notice. So I is equal to I plus 1. So for each of this loop, I'm going to increase I by 1. So I think that's it for the flowchart on how to draw a flowchart to illustrate the looping structure using draw.io. So this is the flowchart that we have drew earlier, right, to indicate loop. Now I want to explain it by providing you with an example, the example that we have gone through a few times in our class. For example, have you tried to log in more than 3 times? Remember, most of the times when you're asked to enter a username and password, whether to a website or to a social media platforms, you are given certain limits in terms of the attempts. So for example, if you have logged in or you have tried to log in for more than 3 times, then you will be blocked. And actually this is an example or a typical example of looping happening there. Right. So now if you can see here, for example, during the first login, okay, I will initialize I, okay. If you like, I is actually reflects the numbers of attempts, right? The number of times that you have tried to log in. So of course, the first login is I is equal to 1, okay. And as you can see here in the decisions here, or the diamond shape here, we want to check whether I is greater than 3, okay. So of course, when I is equal to 1, I is not greater than 3. So the question is whether I is greater than 3. Okay, the answer is no. Okay, then we're going to do a looping, the first loop here. And while we are doing the looping here, we try to add a counter, okay, which is I equal to I plus 1, as you can see in the flowchart. So I is equal to I plus 1. Now my I is equal to 1, so equal to 1 plus 1. So now my I is equal to 2. Now let's move on to the second loop. Now my I is equal to 2. So this is my second login attempt. Assume that you still enter the wrong username and password. Of course, you know, if you enter the correct username and password, then you will have access, you will come out from the loop. Now assume, okay, you have entered the wrong username and password. Now you are in the second attempt. Now my I is equal to 2, okay? Is 2 greater than 3? Of course, the answer is no. 2 is not greater than 3. So I'm going into the loop here and I have the counter here again. Because now my I is equal to 2. So I equal to 2 plus 1. Now my I is equal to 3. Then it's quite obvious that we're now in the third login attempt. So third login, now my I is equal to 3. Is 3 greater than 3? The answer is still no. I'm going again into the loop here and I need to go through the counter. So now my I is equal to 3 plus 1. So my I is equal to 4. Finally, now if my I is equal to 4, okay, I need to go into the decisions here. Whether 4 is greater than 3. Obviously, 4 is now greater than 3. The answer is yes. Based on the flowchart here, if it is yes, then I will need to end the programs. Okay, in this case, or in our example, will be you won't be allowed to try to log in again. Hopefully, through these explanations and through the log-in attempt example which I have provided to you, you will have a good understanding of looping or iterative structure. Thank you very much.